Welcome into another edition of Chalk Talk. Nick Camino, Ben Axelrod, already episode 14. I was talking to Ben before we got started. After this, I think we've got two more of these. So it's been a crazy sort of year, as we know, Ben. But football has managed to make it through. Certainly has not been the smoothest road in either the NFL or certainly college football. But here we are, championship weekend for college football, week 15 of the NFL already, and hey, let's pick some games. I know you can give our total records if you want, Ben, but we'll just kind of get right to it this week.
Yeah, I'm 43, 36 and 1. I went 4 and 2 last week. You are 39, 40 and 3. You went 3 and 3 last week. You are back over 500 in college, just below 500 in the NFL. And I am back above 500. I'm still above 500 in college. 23 and 16, and then at 500 in the NFL at 20 and 1. So, just a couple of weeks left here in the NFL, and we're chugging along.
And I know when we got started, just similar to last year, I said to myself, okay, I want to finish above 500. I also want to try and get over that 52.4% hump. And at 39, 40 and 1, Ben, I'm gonna have to finish strong here. But that was kind of like a personal goal. Also, probably wanted to beat you. I don't know if that's going to be the case though. But if both of us can have winning seasons, if I can join you, I'd feel pretty happy about the first 2 years of Chalk Talk here.
Yeah, I hear you. I think we might get picked up for season 3 if this keeps up. But yeah, I'm ahead of you by, it looks like about four and a half games or so. So I might go into, if I have another good week here in week 15, I might have to go into prevent defense in weeks 16 and 17.
All right, here we go. Let's start with championship weekend for college football. We give picks against the spread, all of it for entertainment purposes only, especially here in Ohio. I'll give my 3 college picks. Ben will give his 3 college picks, and then Ben will go back to his 3 NFL picks, and then I'll give my 3 NFL picks. So here we go. Championship weekend for college football, already week 16 of the season. Ben, I'm going to start with the Pac-12 title game. Of course I am. I've been Mr. Pac-12 After Dark all season long. Weird game here. Washington was supposed to play in the Pac-12 title game. They've got a situation with COVID-19, not enough scholarship guys able to suit up. So they've put Oregon. Is that typical 2020, Ben? You just throw, all right, well, we'll just let Oregon in the game. Well, I think Oregon's going to take advantage of the opportunity. USC coming off a crazy game against UCLA last week. Love the quarterback in Tyler Shuck at Oregon. They've got a nice defense. They've got tremendous running backs. USC, they've. I know that there's not going to be any Pac-12 team that makes the college football playoff, but they've at least made it an interesting argument because I think anyone would have said, heck no, there's no chance the Pac-12 would have any chance. I think the USC is at least carrying the flag for the conference, but I think Oregon's going to have leave out any doubt that the Pac-12 will not get in the college football playoff. They're going to win this game. And I think they're getting 3.5. So I'm going to take them in this one. I think Oregon is a better team.
Yeah, there's been a little bit of that playoff buzz, it seems like, with USC, just because of the way the playoff picture is shaking out. And like you said, I don't think a Pac-12 team gets in, but I also think USC, just they're, such a small sample size and kind of inflated, I think, based on name value. They had a couple of close calls earlier in the season with some not so great teams. So I'm with you here. I think USC kind of fell flat on its face here, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Ducks won this one outright.
The only thing I'll give the Pac-12 credit for, because there were some people that said, well, they've played the same amount of games as Ohio State and their strength of schedule, but I think the eye test tells us Ohio State is a way better team than USC. Yeah. Where I will hear the argument on the Pac-12 is, everyone's like, well, maybe the Big 12 gets in. Well, right now I don't see a difference between the Pac-12 and the Big 12. I really don't. Yeah. I feel like it's the same, but I think Notre Dame will make it no matter what happens this week.
Yeah.
unless they get absolutely torched. We'll see. All right, second game, Ohio State. I think you and I have agreement on this one. A little peek ahead to Ben's picks. I'm going to take Ohio State minus 20.5 against Northwestern, but I don't know if they win it by more than 21. We'll say that. I think this is going to be right on the number. I think Ohio State can win this game by 3 touchdowns. I think this thing's going to be right on. And then my last pick, going to go with Notre Dame plus 10.5. I don't think they win the football game. I got to make that clear. I don't think they beat Clemson like they did. Remember, Clemson did not have Trevor Lawrence last time. That game was in South Bend. This is at a neutral site, this matchup. Not going to be very many fans, though, down in Charlotte. So I'm going to take Notre Dame plus 10.5. I think they keep it close. And I think they play hard. I still like this Notre Dame team. I still think they're a very good team. But with Lawrence back, it's going to do enough. But 10.5 seems a little bit inflated for me, Ben.
Yeah, I agree. I think this line is just too big for, Notre Dame, a team that we think is going to be in the playoff regardless. I guess the flip side would be Clemson is, Clemson has more of a need here. Clemson needs to win this game to get in. Clemson loses to Notre Dame a second time. I don't think they get in. So maybe there's a little more urgency with the Tigers. But yeah, I mean, if you think Notre Dame's a legitimate playoff team, at the very least, they should be able to cover a 10.5-point spread here.
There we go. So my 3 college picks, we did them quick. Oregon plus 3.5, Ohio State minus 20.5, and Notre Dame plus 10.5. Ben, your 3 college picks.
Yeah, well, I've got the Buckeyes minus 20.5 as well. I just think, Buckeyes keeping their foot on the gas, needing to make a statement to, silence any questions about Texas A&M or potentially USC. So to me, this is just, Buckeyes, foot on the gas, go, go, go. Leave no question that you're in the playoff. My second pick, I'm going back to one of my winners from last week. I had Rutgers plus 8 against Maryland. The Scarlet Knights win outright. I'm going to take Rutgers plus 6.5 at Nebraska. And look, I think the storyline for this one is simple. What would be a more fitting end to Nebraska season than losing outright to Rutgers? So I think that Nebraska could lose this game outright, and I think that Rutgers, at the very least, they're playing hard for Greg Schiano. So I like the 6.5 points in this one.
I mean, Greg Schiano is just the perfect fit at Rutgers. Did a nice job as the D coordinator at Ohio State. Wasn't that great in the NFL. But I mean, for him, Rutgers, it fits. He's doing well there.
Yeah, I think if you look at the pleasant surprises of the Big Ten this year, Rutgers is oddly toward the top of the list. And I think that's going to be something that's interesting to keep an eye on moving forward. And then my last pick, I've got Texas A&M minus 14 versus Tennessee. I just think Texas A&M is going to come out, try to make a statement to really make the college football playoff committee think about, choosing the Aggies or the Buckeyes. I think the Buckeyes have the edge there. And then Tennessee, I know they won last week against Vanderbilt, but when the Volunteers lose, they tend to lose big. So I think Texas A&M comes out and just makes a statement here over the Vols.
All right, so you've got Ohio State, you've got Texas A&M, and you've got
Rutgers.
All right, those are your 3 college picks. All right, NFL, what do you got, Ben? This is already week 15 of the NFL.
Week 15 of the NFL season here, and I'm going to go back to the Cleveland Browns. They let us down last week on Monday night against the Ravens. A crazy backdoor cover for the Ravens there with that safety at the end. But I'm going back to the Browns minus 4 against the New York Giants. I just think this is a good bounce back spot for the Browns. I thought that the the Giants got exposed to a little bit last week against the Cardinals. I just like this overall as a bounce back spot in prime time for the Browns.
There's only one reason I agree with you, and it's because of what you just said, prime time. If this was a 1:00 game at the Meadowlands, just a Sunday afternoon, right after that tough loss to the Ravens for the Browns, I almost feel like there would be value with the Giants. But I feel like the Browns are like, okay, you know what? We're back in prime time. This is a team we should beat. I do think they get it together, but man, I do feel like the time is a difference here for some reason.
Yeah. And then my second pick, I've got the Detroit Lions plus 10.5 at the Tennessee Titans. To me, there's a lot of big lines this week. I think there's 3 double-digit lines. I think there's a lot of value in just taking the points in the double-digit lines. But in order to do that, I would either have to back the Jets or I would have to back the Bengals against Pittsburgh. So I feel that I feel best backing the Detroit Lions against Tennessee. I think Tennessee wins, but we've seen this Tennessee team be uneven throughout the season. Big win in Jacksonville last week. I think maybe they fall back to earth a little bit. I just think the Lions, at the very least, have enough offensive talent to cover this 10.5-point spread. And then my third pick, I think we have agreement on this one. So we've got two. So maybe I'm going into my prevent defense a little early on you, not letting you going to gain too much ground on me. I've got the Kansas City Chiefs -3 at the New Orleans Saints. I think this is simple. If New Orleans is going to keep pace with this Chiefs offense, they're going to have to play a way that they haven't been able to play with Taysom Hill in the lineup. So I just think Kansas City for them, they haven't covered in a few weeks here. I think they're kind of due for some regression as, arguably the best team in the NFL. So I've got the Chiefs -3 versus the New Orleans Saints.
All right, I'm going to go where we have agreement. I'll work my way backwards throughout the weekend here for my NFL picks for Week 15. I'm going to go Chiefs. A lot of the reasoning you mentioned. I just think the Chiefs are going to turn this into a track meet on that turf, and the Saints just can't keep up with Taysom Hill. I mean, come on. They should be playing Jameis Winston anyway. If you want to mix in Hill, to do wildcat stuff or run some RPOs, okay, but for him to be the full-time quarterback option right now is just ridiculous. And the Eagles exposed that the other day. So totally with you on the Chiefs. Going to go into, don't forget, NFL returns on Saturday this weekend. You got 2 games. I'm going to take the Broncos here. I wish they were getting 7.5. This makes it a little bit tougher at 6.5. I'm still going to take them here only because I think the public is going to be all over the Bills after their last 2 games, which have been fantastic. I do think the Bills do enough to win this game. And I know the Broncos record isn't going to be 5-8. I know where they're at. I don't think they win the game. But 6.5, it just seems like a little bit too. I wish it was 7.5, but I do think they find a way to keep it close and lose, by 6. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be just tight enough. And the Broncos have shown us, they played the Chiefs pretty tough a couple weeks ago in prime time. So that's not an awful team. So
yeah, I like Denver's offensive skill players. They're having such a weird year. Like, they're not going to make the playoffs, but looking ahead, I have no idea how to project them moving forward here with Drew Luck. So I like you. I agree with you here. I like this pick.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. Maybe the coach has saved his job, but I don't know. I don't know what they end up doing. All right, so then I'm carrying the Ben Axelrod Thursday Night Flag the last few weeks. It's just because we want some action. I'm going to take the Las Vegas Raiders -3.5 against the Chargers. Probably more so, again, a bet against the Chargers and Anthony Lynn. I just feel like his time there is limited. I did lose picking against them last week. They hit a game-winning field goal against the Falcons. God, the Falcons need to just go away for the next 5 years. I'm going to take the Raiders, though, here. I do not know if they're going to make the playoffs. They need every game right now. But I think that, those guys feel, hey, if they can win out, they're going to have a chance. They can get to 10 wins. So I think if you get to 10 wins, you at least have a chance. So I think the Raiders win this game, and they win it by at least 4 points on Thursday Night Football. I'll take the Raiders.
Yeah, I mean, the Raiders certainly have the urgency here. They're fighting an uphill battle in the AFC wildcard race behind Cleveland, Tennessee, and Miami. So, I mean, kind of going back to our college logic for some of these picks, I think the Raiders are the team here that has a lot to fight for, and the Chargers, even after last week's win, are kind of playing for draft position right now.
Ben, that's going to do it. Short and sweet. Had fun on it. Episode 14 of Chalk Talk. We got 2 more to go. Good luck this weekend, and we'll talk to you next week.